Hey, good afternoon. Hey, thank you very much for joining us on another rendition of The Rich Hart Show. And here, June, wonderful date of June 27, 2018. Isn't that a cool date there, Rich, huh? Like that, all right? Beautiful sunny downtown Buckhead. We're looking at our studios out here and the sun shining. I think it's going to make its debut appearance today, so without a doubt. Hey, today, I'd like to welcome our guest, Joe Messeri. Got it. I got it. Joe Messeri. Joe Messeri, Southeast Deputy Director for Team Rubicon. And along with Joe today is Chet Tischer, Principal Developer for the Bonus Rooms, where we live, work, play, escape, and now, Chet, we survive. Okay? Today's program is we're going to be talking about people helping people and where survival actually counts. All right, so Joe, Chet, welcome to the program. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having me.
Let's start it. So Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself and Team Rubicon.
So I'm a Navy veteran, and I've been working with Team Rubicon for a couple of years now. Got out of the Navy and came home, wanted to make a difference in my community at home. Found Team Rubicon. So TR is a disaster response nonprofit. We put the skills of veterans, first responders, and civilians together to quickly form disaster response teams and get them out in the field. We're about 70% veterans. And the idea was we found out that military veterans have a ton of experience in austere environments and small team leadership, and we could make a difference at home with the same skill set that we used overseas.
Super, love it, love it. And what about Joe himself? I mean, a veteran?
Yeah.
The reason why I get into Team Rubicon, I mean, of course, it sounds like you found them, they found you.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of that.
Tools, techniques. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I was a Navy veteran. I did a couple of tours overseas, and for a long time I felt more comfortable over there than here.
Okay.
So I talked to some mentors of mine, and they said you need to find something that means a lot to you to keep you at home next time you go home.
Right.
I had known about TR, and I had known about the work that they did, and had a friend who was an intern in their LA office. And she says, if you're looking for a place to stay and make a mark on the world, this is the place.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah, I called them. They called me back.
Which is always good.
Yeah. I interviewed from Bahrain, so on the Arabian Peninsula. I interviewed from over there. It was a lot of 3 a.m. phone calls. Sure. Before I came home, and I came straight home to a tornado response within the first week.
Going to be talking to Rich Hart on the radio.
Yeah, it was a match made in heaven.
Chet,
there's a lot of disaster in that.
There is definitely a lot of disaster. Chet Tischer, Chet, introduce yourself. Chet has been a returning guest out there. Is one of my dearest close friends out there inside what we do and inside the bonus room. Chet, just introduce yourself. Just tell the audience a little bit more about this crazy man, Chet Tischer.
Well, good afternoon. Good morning. It's Chet Tischer. More about me, I guess. I've been a real estate developer and a home builder for 25 years or so. We took a break around 2008, 2009, which gave me lots of time. And during that time, that's when we came up with Bonus Room.
Right.
Baby boomers still had a problem with housing and mobility and things like that. So we came up with a product that was going to help them, something we could actually take to their house and set up. And so Bonus Room, through a couple trials and tribulations, came to attention, and now we're up and running.
So that's exactly what I said. We live, work, play, escape, and now survive.
Well, we did. Well, it started out just strictly helping baby boomers and mobility issues on the main level of their house, but then it quickly grew into other things because the same platform can be used abroad. It can be used for tiny houses. It can be used, that'd be maybe a survival. It could be an escape. But it can be used for lots of different things, the same platform.
Superb. And today we're talking about helping people, providing essentials prior or during when disaster strikes, Joe. Team Rubicon always there. All right, a lot of other affiliates themselves across the country getting together. I think one of the things you mentioned in your opening yourself was talking about volunteers and the amount of volunteers and individuals that are involved here. All right, Chet, I know everything you do has taken a tremendous amount of volunteer work and specialty work already in designing and specialty from the housing and development side. And that's why I thought it was very crucial to get both of you guys together and say, hey, look, let's take a look and see what we're doing. know, from when disaster strikes, you know. Team Rubicon, all right, I think we discussed out there, headquartered in Los Angeles,
Yep.
operations themselves in Dallas, Texas.
Mhm.
Okay, and then they take this guy, all right, Joe Masseri, that I got that right, Joe
Nailed it.
Masseri, all right,
Yeah.
and they airdrop him in the middle of Atlanta from you know, from the rest of the world out here. Let's talk about just Team Rubicon and the organization itself, how it's
Yeah.
set up, and just the engagement of all the people. Man, Joe, I heard the number 80,000.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that? For us?
So we've been around for 8 years now. We started in 2010. It was 6 guys that all met in an airport baggage carousel on the way to Haiti. And it was indirect. They were on their way to the Dominican Republic so they could go over the mountain into Haiti. And they said, look, I'm going to carry as much stuff as I can
Yeah.
with me to make as big of an impact as I can on the community and help whatever they need. So they did that for a couple of weeks. Awesome core group of people came home and said, I think we can do this more often. I think we should make this a regular thing. So here we are 8 years later. We have, after last hurricane season, almost 80,000 volunteers strong. And like I mentioned to you yesterday, not all of them are active every single day.
Yeah.
And we have kind of a, you know, active and reserve force. You know, when
Sure.
it comes to your neighborhood, when it comes to your hometown, you suddenly come out and, you know, you're already affiliated, you're already aware of what's going on, and you can make a huge difference. So we are headquartered in LA. We have our operations center in Dallas. We have 6 territories so that we're regionally capable
Divided.
of operating. Yeah, so we can plan and launch operations from each of the regions as
Sure.
local as possible. And we're actually trying to push into cities and use a city-based impact radius model.
Right.
We know that, you know, people come into Atlanta from 11 counties in North Georgia. And from those 11 counties in North Georgia, if they're already coming in here once a month, and we know that there's funders, there's businesses, we can use that as an impact radius. We can say, okay, if we get a couple hundred here that are capable, skilled, trained, we can do all that here, and then they can deploy out within a 6-hour drive.
Right.
And that's almost all the Southeast.
Sure it is. I mean,
You know,
you're
that's all the way
talking-
down to
your
Jacksonville.
coverage out there is Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, which encompasses that Southeast region.
Yeah.
It's a big region.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people themselves that, when it comes to, you know, things themselves are going to go wrong, all right? Crazy things strike. Mother Nature does her deeds, all right? And it's the preparation to act quickly and to pull as many people as you do is amazing.
Yeah.
It's just simply amazing.
What's even more amazing is it's entirely volunteer-led. It's everything. So I'm the only guy that's a paid employee in the Southeast region.
Right.
My logs manager, all my functional roles, my communications people, my PR, my finance manager, my planning and operations managers, all volunteers.
Yeah.
You know, they're all, a bunch of them are military veterans, some of them were first responders, some of them were, you know, had family, and they all said, I want to make a difference, and this is where my skill set lies. How can I help the most?
Sure.
So yeah, I just kind of help make a few
Right.
weeks ago.
Sure.
I had volunteers told me that it happened, and the state called and said, can you help? I have volunteers that operate heavy equipment, and we have a partnership that we had heavy equipment brought in through a
Right.
partner.
Sure.
I had volunteers that planned the operation, launched it, ran it. All I did was approve it and kind of, you know, cheerlead along the way to make sure that they could do
Orchestrate.
it.
So leadership is probably one of your stronger suits.
Hopefully.
Yeah, without a doubt. But that's, you know, the guys themselves, what we see in our business and the environments that we work and develop in, is there's a lot of challenges. Stories themselves from Team Rubicon. Some of your greatest challenges that you guys face, and Chad, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Some of the greatest challenges you face within not only development, but in working and developing relations with people. What would you say are some of the tougher challenges for you, Joe?
Well, luckily, in developing relationships with people, it's funny you asked this. I just talked about this at our National Leadership Conference, because in the Southeast, it's a lot easier.
Okay.
We have a front porch mentality, and if I walk up to, you know, anybody in a meeting and say, hi, I'm Joe, I'm from Atlanta, and this is what I do, they'll give me every minute they've got to talk.
Great.
It's a lot easier when you can say I work in humanitarian aid and disaster response. And,
Sure,
you
it's
know,
great.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sit down as long as you like.
Here's my business card. I take 2, they're free.
But what's really cool is, especially down here where we live, everybody's really willing to sit down and have that conversation. So we don't have a lot of issues there. What we do, what's really cool about TR is that we take those challenges and treat them, you know, as something to achieve.
To achieve.
You know, so what we've done, we're a small organization compared to some of the other disaster responders,
Right.
but we try to problem solve everywhere we go.
Good.
So we show up with, you know, a lot of tenacity and
Sure.
some eyes wide open and say, okay, well, you know, I know we've never done this before, but
Right.
let's find a way to do it, and
That's great.
try to bring in all the partners we can, and you know, make connections and work alongside people to do that.
Exactly. Hey, Chet, when we start taking the challenge you face, all right, when it comes to developing and reaching, I know you're working with FEMA and other organizations out there too as well to really bring an opportunity of the product and developing, especially when the product development is here developed in Georgia. What's some of the challenges that we're facing right now?
Well, we don't have any natural disasters that we really deal with so much.
Right.
But the one thing we do face every single day is we face challenges of how to overcome different obstacles.
Right.
And it seems like every day, all day long, people are telling us no. People are telling us, no, you can't do this, you have to do it this way, you can't do it at all. And we just have to figure out how to make it happen, whether it's building a house, or whether it's developing a subdivision, or whether it's helping a senior citizen with a house that meets their mobility needs, or anything.
Right.
We're always trying to overcome, you know, different obstacles. And so much like disaster relief, we build houses for homeowners, and that is our disaster. It seems like sometimes. It really does. But it's a little bit different. But if you look at the fundamental core of everything, we're just trying to overcome, you know, things everyday obstacles,
Sure, right.
like Team Rubicon does, just a little bit different application.
Sure, sure. You know, when I first heard of Chet and what Chet was doing, when I first heard of what Team Rubicon, in fact, we were talking about that too as well. I first heard Team Rubicon on a Pat Robinson show on the 700 Club. And of course I was in my office and I've got the TV in the background and I'm listening. And all of a sudden I hear Team Rubicon, what Team Rubicon is doing. And I'm going, wow, where do these guys come from? All right, and all of a sudden I start talking to Joe, start talking to Rich and everybody around. And so, yeah, about there 80,000 people deep, or just a hairline under 80,000 people deep. And I say, well, I must have missed the memo. All right, I didn't get the memo.
Now there's 80,001 with Rich Hart, yeah.
Thank you very much. And
Actually,
I'm
that's
here.
2 if you've ever seen that dude, yeah, it's actually 2.
But, you know, from what you guys do and how you established, all right, what sets you apart? I mean, I know, we just talked about it. There are other relief efforts out there, and the Red Cross and what they're doing, and everybody else. And what makes you guys special out there from Team Rubicon?
So there's two things that really make us a little bit different, and you know, we talked a little bit before about all the other organizations. So
Sure.
I would say, and this is a totally made up number, but it's indicative of the case, 70 or 80% of recovery after a storm happens with nonprofits. It happens with a lot of church-based organizations. You know, we mentioned yesterday that the county and the city is required to protect life, health, and safety.
Yeah.
And then past that, they're required to start the recovery process, and all of the bulk of the recovery gets done by people like you and me.
Right. So,
And that's a part that I think is really important that some people don't see until it happens in their neighborhood.
right.
So we're just one of a ton, and I mean a ton, of nonprofit organizations in this country that do disaster response and recovery. We're part of the National VOAD, so the Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster, and you know, we try to collaborate together, work together to see what we can do to make the biggest impact we can. I think what sets us apart is two things. One is the advantage of small team leadership,
Right.
and you know, having seen and done things that, you know, in our past, 70% of our membership is veterans.
Right.
So to be able to walk into a tornado area and say, okay, I got this.
They've
I'm
been
gonna,
there.
I'm gonna solve this.
Yes.
You know, and there's no hesitation, there's no question. That's a huge help. But the other thing is just being able to it's our culture. Being able to step in and say, I'm gonna fix this the best I can.
Fill the gap.
Yeah, so our old tagline was,
Exactly.
what used to be a long time ago, bridge the gap.
Wow.
And the idea was we wanted to try and find a way to do whatever isn't being done.
Sure.
So we don't want to come in and upset the apple cart, we don't want to take over, we just want to try and do as much for people as we can.
Right.
And to support the other organizations that have been doing it for years.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Because you do have a lot of leaders, you do have a lot of Indians, all right? You do have probably more chiefs on a disaster recovery effort out there. There's been a couple of them. Unfortunately, in our conversation, we were talking about how some of that coverage gets covered and what efforts are actually being done. I can only imagine that in as many chiefs, all right, when they land, okay, people themselves are going in a lot of different directions. And it seems like Team Rubicon is there as a support vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anywhere along the lines to help those organizations, all right, that are, I can't say more prevalent, because you guys have made a tremendous mark on the disaster relief recovery efforts, all right, for many, all right, different operations and many different things themselves that I've now started researching and seeing exactly what you're doing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But, filling that gap is extremely important. Chet, I know that's what we do with Self and Bonus Room. We fill the gap, all right, because there are certain wants and needs that unfortunately can't get met. And when it comes to survival, and when it comes to that area of filling that gap for that need, okay, we have to rely on other organizations.
Yeah,
Deb and I, we're heading out to Haiti, and we're heading over to Andalusia, already Alabama for a Habitat Build next week, or in July. And we're always, got our fingers in the relief efforts. And I can only imagine how many other teams and programs and churches and specialty groups that are working on here, And so to fill in the gaps out there from Team Rubicon, how is the organization, how are you getting everybody, together, and how do you get them there?
Well, to go back to your point earlier, everybody in the disaster response phase has something they're really good at.
Yeah.
So, we talked a little bit before about other organizations. Some are really good at disaster case management,
Sure.
which I can't do. I just absolutely can't manage thousands of people and the money that goes into it and all that. Some are really, really good at debris removal. That's where we have a lot of strong backs in our organization.
Exactly.
We found in Haiti that when we first went, that we were really, really good at setting up field aid stations and doing basic medical work, but we can't stay there forever.
Sure, right.
And which is why you're going back with another organization.
That's right.
And this is 8 years later.
Sure.
There's organizations that have been there, since the day we left, that have been, turning and burning
Continually.
on the recovery aspect. So what you were talking about, how do you make connections? That's the most important thing.
Sure.
When you get on the ground and you have all these organizations that are there, all these people that are there to do the most good they can.
Right.
If you know each other ahead of time,
Yeah.
if you've collaborated, if you've worked before together,
Makes it a lot easier.
it makes it way easier.
Yeah, a lot easier, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. So, hey, today we're actually talking with Joe Messeri. Make sure I got that right. Alrighty, email out there only is Messeri, Messere, at teamrubiconusa.org. Or you can also reach Team Rubicon, that's TeamRubicon, USA.org. Alrighty, the other thing, of course, Chet Tischer from Bonus Room. You reach Chet, it's help any additional questions out there, 770-480-5676. Chet, C-H-E-T, at bonus, BONUSRUUM, uniquespelling.com, all right, or bonusroom.com. Hey guys, let's get back. Let's talk about a little bit more of what we've got from what Team Rubicon and what Bonus Rooms is out there really to help people. All right, Joe, you mentioned some in our conversations we've had, the difference between catastrophe and disaster. Now, Chet, we see a lot of disaster.
Yeah, we see it every morning.
It was 8 traffic accidents alone just coming down 75 this morning was kind of crazy, all right? And then, of course, we do get the catastrophe. But, Joe, you had a definition between catastrophe and disaster, all right? It will really help the audience, all right?
Yeah.
What it really talks about.
So when we were talking yesterday, prepping for the show, we were talking about Puerto Rico and what happened there, and what I was saying was the difference between a disaster and a catastrophe is a disaster affects you, it affects your neighbors, right? It affects all the people you know. A catastrophe affects the system, the ability to respond, the ability to recover.
Right.
So we've seen catastrophes lately. We've seen them obviously with Hurricanes Irma and Maria last year. We saw them in Houston with Hurricane Harvey.
Right.
And the perfect example there is they had requested support from municipalities nearby. That's called an EMAC request. And emergency management's, they say, hey, come help us
Come
over
help us
here.
over
We,
here.
you know, we've used all our firefighters and police, we need more firefighters and police.
Right.
We need search and rescue, we need this. And at one point, the county said, okay, it's all out there, there's still more need. And if you can launch boats safely and pull people out of the water, you need to do it. And so that's a perfect example, and that's one of the things that we flex to be able to do. Somebody ran down the street and bought a half a dozen boats, and they put them in the water right away. And luckily, we have people that are all skilled and trained.
Skilled and trained.
You know, they've been doing it
Don't have any
for 20
drowning
years
or
behind
anything.
it. It's, you know, we're not throwing random people in there.
Good, super.
You know, water rescue technicians from the Coast Guard and,
Right.
and things like that. That we
And
put
those
on board.
individuals are all identified, you know,
Yeah.
all as part of the team, so you can pull those individuals just about any drop of a pin. So-
Yeah, so, but the big difference though is between I'm affected, my neighbors are affected, and the whole system breaks down. And when the whole system breaks down, that's when you find a lot of organizations thinking outside the box.
Sure.
You know, how do we solve this without creating more of a problem? And that was one of the things that we had some discussions around logistics in Puerto Rico yesterday.
Good deal, superb, superb. Chet, catastrophes in your world, all right? What is Bonus Room, how could Bonus Room really fit already in the strategic alliances themselves with individuals already on the survival and disaster side?
Well, so we are slowly traveling into packaging small housing to be able to ship around the world. We were talking to some folks in South America. We were putting a package together for them, and it's basically like a house in a box.
Right.
And we just ship the box out to them with a set of instructions on how to put that house together.
Right.
Here at our office, we can put a unit together in about 45 minutes.
Is that right?
We can put actually a good livable unit together in about 45 minutes. And then there's some parameters that happen inside the house that take a little bit longer. But put together properly, our units are Miami-Dade certified against hurricanes, earthquakes. Earthquakes was a big issue out in South America.
Yeah.
And so it needed to be able to withstand that. One of the biggest obstacles we have run into, though, in some of these places, such as like a Haiti or South America, is they use construction techniques that they've been using their entire life.
Their
I mean,
lives.
let's think about it. They've only and so cinder blocks and concrete blocks and bricks, and that's how they basically build these things. Their houses now. So one of the problems that they have is the length of time it takes to put one of these together.
Right.
So it takes a little bit of time. And our units, because they're pre-assembled, I mean, all you do is you just bolt them together and
Right.
you have a good sturdy structure
Right.
that will withstand everything that their units will withstand now. It's getting them over the hump of to stop using the bricks and the mortar and that kind of thing and using our product. So
Right.
we've had lots of conversations with them. And I say them, it's the government over in South America. So we're putting that package together. So if we can continue down that, and then I can get some feedback from them, and we can start working
Right.
side by side, I think we'll have that package solidified, and we can start sending them units, as well as we can send a unit anywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
So one of the other things, and I don't know how Team Rubicon does it exactly, but we have churches that talk to us as well. So people are in need of assisted housing, low-income housing.
Right.
We can actually ship on a container, like in a container on a tractor-trailer semi.
Yeah.
We can actually send 8 houses on one tractor-trailer
Wow.
to somebody. Now, when I say houses, they're only about they're 12 by 12, they can be 12 by 16, but the nice thing about our units is we can manipulate each unit by 4 feet to be as big or small as we need. So if there's a large family, we can have a 16 by 16 unit or a 32 by 32 unit, whatever it is.
Right.
If it's a single person, we can put them in a 10 by 10 or 10 by 12 or whatever. So we can really modify that.
Sure,
So-
but it's immediate shelter.
Immediate.
It's coverage.
Mhm.
It's getting to the point of stuff of restoring ADLs, activities of daily living, back
Mhm.
again, and getting them to the next phase, the next step.
And it could be temporary, it could be permanent. So if on a temporary basis, we can then go in when you're done using it,
Right.
and we can disassemble those, put them back on the tractor trailer, and we just leave them in there for the next need.
Right, exactly.
Or if you put it together just a little bit differently, it could be a permanent structure.
Right, exactly.
So it's more sturdy than a tent.
Yes.
Much.
It's more comfortable and
drier.
homely than a
And
park
drier,
model.
exactly.
Right, so the current disaster response system is, hey, if your house is completely gone, here's a park model home to live in.
While
so
you're
it sounds-
rebuilding.
yeah,
And
so
they're
it sounds-
stackable.
Yeah, you can stack one unit on top of the other.
You know, I lived in a 20-foot container for years with the military,
Right.
and I had the front 10 feet was my office, and the back 10 feet was my home, and it was actually really incredibly comfortable
There
if
you
you
go.
if you make it homey.
Sure.
What I think is amazing though about your bonus room is that he says you can build it in the time less the time that it took me to move my 1-bedroom apartment. Some of that may have been because there was a lot of clothes that didn't belong to me, but
You have 80,000
I
volunteers.
I
and it took you that
just
long
went
to
through
move.
that. I just went
I
through
love that you can build it in less than the time it takes me to move.
Exactly.
The same
Isn't that
amount of
crazy?
stuff.
That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, guys, we're getting into more of a global reaction already. And Joe, I know you walked through our conversations and Chad himself really tying in not only nationally, okay, but now globally. How does it affect what Team Rubicon does on a global aspect? All right, because now I guess what we say we're at about 70,000, 80,000 deep here in the United States. Okay, how far have we expanded it out?
So we actually started as an international responding organization. So we
Right.
started in Haiti, and our next thing, there was one in between, but we went to the Philippines. We've been in Nepal. Recently, we actually went into Greece, and there was a Syrian refugee camp that was in bad need of medical aid.
Right.
So we found a building nearby, leased it for a little bit, and built a small hospital and a medical logistics
Right.
program behind it.
Good, superb.
And then handed it over again to another nonprofit that's better at
Sure.
running hospitals. We're better at setting them up in tents.
Yeah.
And they're better at running them long term.
Right.
So we handed that over. So we've been doing that for the entire 8 years. You know, we have an international deployer pool. We're actually this week, as we speak, it's
Yeah.
today they're testing it. We're getting our World Health Organization Emergency Medical Team Tier 1,
Yeah.
EMT1
Correct.
certification.
Superb.
We will be the first organization, at least in North America, I think in the world, that's not government funded
Yeah.
in any way. So
Wow.
we're going to be the first fully NGO WHO EMT1. And that's going to help us respond more often
Sure is.
and in more areas like that with the medical stuff. We've done stuff like search and rescue,
Yeah.
chainsaws. We went to Puerto Rico, which is not
Sure.
international, by the way. It's domestic.
Exactly.
They're our
Domestic.
neighbors.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it is outside of continental United States, OCONUS. So it's a logistical challenge. So we found a way to ship chainsaws and bodies to go down there and walk through their aqueducts and clear aqueducts and get water flowing to communities.
Super.
Didn't take an airplane load of
Exactly.
stuff or
Yeah, exactly.
any of that stuff. And it's the same thing that Chet's talking about. How can I make a huge impact with a small footprint?
Small footprint. Exactly.
But in addition to all that, we actually are building affiliates with our coalition partner neighbors, nations all over the world. So there's a Team Rubicon UK, there's a Team Rubicon Canada,
super.
there's a Team Rubicon Australia, and we're building a couple other TRs in other nations, mostly with the same issue, veterans that want to go home and be impactful at home, and don't want to lose the ability to have a meaningful difference in the world.
That's super. I often say that I'm Rich Hart Global, but you are now Team Rubicon Universe.
Yeah, there's been a couple.
I
of
can't
jokes.
beat that one, guys. I can't beat that one. That's
There's
huge.
been a couple of jokes that we
That's
may
huge.
have to expand to Mars.
Hey, so the question is, all right, and the last one I'll finish up here too, is how do you choose? How do you choose a project? How do you choose an area? I mean, I know disasters, they come up all the time, all right? And there is resources and development, moving people, related partners, and bringing people in, such as getting and moving, and logistics. It's probably a logistics nightmare, okay,
Yeah.
without a doubt, okay? How do you make that choice?
It's needs based. It's
Super.
entirely needs based. So
Super.
we look at social vulnerability index from the CDC and places like that.
Right.
We go to if there's a full county that's affected, we'll talk to as many of the partners, the county, the locals as we can, and we'll go to the area with the lowest income, the lowest insurance. We know that recovery money that comes from the state and the county only goes so far. So we want to look at the place the places where that money needs to go farther than what it'll spend.
Right.
And we'll put our effort there to make the biggest impact. And by impacting that part, the rest of the community is allowed to be resilient on its own and recover in its own way. So the whole community comes up together.
Comes up together.
Rising tide rises all
Right.
ships, right? So.
Exactly, super. That was the whole idea behind the foundation and the Rich Hart Global Foundation, helping people in need and working with people, hopefully in the future selves with people like Team Rubicon in the rooms and what we're doing. I mean, you guys themselves, you see from an operations, leadership, development, and your expertise, and bring all those levels of expertise in. What an opportunity, all right, to help the world globally, all right, which is super. Guys, any last thoughts, all right? Joe, what do you think? Any last thoughts themselves you want to leave our?
Well, Rich gave me
listeners with?
a good last thought. He's writing on the board over there that I need to shout out to our sponsors. And there's way too many to list. Honestly, so I have to say that since we're here in Atlanta,
Yes.
the Home Depot Foundation
Good.
has been incredibly pivotal in our growth.
Excellent.
They help us in the field. It's been wonderful to include the parent foundations for the Marcus Foundation, the Blank Family Foundation have been great.
Right.
Nationwide, you know, there's tons of organizations
of
out there.
organizations.
I will say that so that I don't miss anybody and so that I don't get dragged across the coals, if you go to teamrubiconusa.org, we have a list of all our major partners
Good,
there.
super.
But what we really need is people like you and me to say, hey, $10 a month is going to be hugely helpful. You know,
That's super. I'm in.
put the word out, you know, that sort of thing. It's huge.
I'm in. I'm
Oh, and how to donate, you go to our website, and in the top right-hand corner, it says sign up or donate. I mean, action before anything else, right?
Well-
It's the easiest thing to find.
Exactly.
You can volunteer and you can donate. You don't have to do one or the other.
That top
and it's so
right-hand
easy.
corner works tremendous for a lot of folks, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what page you're on, how far you scroll down.
Top
it's
right-hand corner,
right
always
there.
right there, all the time,
Yeah.
every time you switch a page, without a doubt. That's super, without a doubt. Chet, any last piece you want to leave with the audience?
I want to thank Home Depot also because I'm there every day purchasing products for our homes. Do a little different take on it, but
That's all right.
no, listen, I know that you guys are very needs based and we're a little bit different. We're a for-profit organization, but really and truly, I mean, it doesn't take much to answer the phone, and every morning,
Right. Answer the call.
Answer the call, and when the phone rings, you answer the phone, and somebody on the other end needs something, and we really are very good at solving problems, and we really are good at helping folks out. So I hired somebody one time, and she says, "What do you want me to do?" And I said, "I just want you to answer the phone when it rings, and when it rings, you'll know what to do." And she did. That's exactly what she sat in the office, and she just answered the phone, and then she would call me on the other line.
Can I borrow that tagline? I'm going to make that t-shirt, because that's how we do
Physical
all our
and
operations.
emotional and spiritual
Everything's
aspects of
answer the
love and
phone.
life, it works.
It's
you know,
no,
so-
it's no more difficult than that. So.
Superb. Well, hey, that's another show, another Rich Hart show today. Hey, I want to thank my special guest, Joe. Thank you very much, all right?
Thanks, Rich.
Chet, thank you very
Rich,
much for
thank you,
joining.
sir.
All right, pleasure's been all mine.
Yes,
And
sir.
thank you very much. Hey, join us next time. Want to know a little bit more about the show, what's going on? Rich Hart Show, RICHHART show.com, or you can reach us at richhart.com. Hey, thank you very much. Hey, a shout out to Rich Casanova, our engineer design back in the boards out there. Thank you very much, folks, and have a great day.